How's it going, everyone? How are you doing? Today I'm going over my Premier League predictions for week 7. Last week I got a lot of them wrong, but last week I did say for multiple games, I'm not surprised if the result swings either way. To go over it real quick, Aston Villa Leeds was really the only one that completely caught me off guard. I did not expect Leeds to come out and smash Aston Villa like that. So this week it's up to Aston Villa to respond. West Ham City, I even said it. I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham pull off some kind of result. I expected Crystal Palace to beat Fulham, honestly. Chelsea United, I expected a draw. Liverpool, I expected to beat Sheffield, but a little more comfortably than that. Southampton, I did not expect to beat Everton. That's another one that caught me by surprise. Wolves, Newcastle, I even said in the predictions I wouldn't be surprised if they drew. And even this one, I even said I wouldn't be surprised if Leicester pull out a draw or a win. This one, I did want Brighton to win. I'm not incredibly surprised that they drew, but I think that Brighton probably still should have won. And I was expecting a bigger win from Spurs, but it was still a dominant win nonetheless. But to get into this week, we have first up Wolves versus Crystal Palace. Now, Wolves are the favorites in this game by odds. They are the favorites, and honestly, with the form they're on, I could see that Crystal Palace aren't exactly up to scratch quite yet. I get a feeling that they're going to take another couple games to really figure out entirely what they want to do, because when they lose, they really get dominated. They get controlled, and even in their draw, whenever they drop points, it seems like they just can't get anything going, and they just get controlled in that game. Now, I know a lot of the times when you lose, that's what happens, but for Crystal Palace, it's worse, and I think Wolves will take advantage of that. I kind of want a big win for Wolves. I want to see them get back on track. However, I'm gonna give them a 2-0 win. I'm gonna give them a nice clean sheet, a nice 2-0 to rebound off that draw against Newcastle. Now, Sheffield versus City. Obviously, City are the heavy favorites in this one, and I don't really see it going any other way, to be perfectly honest. I'm not gonna go against odds on this one. I think that City do come out with a win on this one. How comfortable will it be is the question, I guess. I mean, Liverpool did struggle a bit against Sheffield, and how much will they struggle? I'm gonna give City a little bit of more credit than Liverpool. I'm gonna give them a 3-1 win over Sheffield. I think City take that one fairly comfortably. Maybe Sheffield will really press them at certain points throughout the game, but I feel like City will come out of that the comfortable winners. Burnley versus Chelsea. I'm going to be going over this tomorrow more in depth. Now, Burnley are a struggling side. They've yet to win a game. They only have 1 point, and it was a draw with, I believe, it was West Brom, I believe. And they've just been struggling. Now, Chelsea have a really nasty habit of allowing struggling teams to right the ship against them. So, Chelsea needs to focus up, needs to rebound. We've gotten 3 straight clean sheets. This is a game where we're lined up to get a big win, and hopefully we do so. Chelsea are the favorites in this one by a large margin. They're the favorites in this one by the odds, and I think Chelsea take this one. How comfortably? I'm gonna back Chelsea's defense, that they continue to keep doing what they're doing and get a 4th straight clean sheet in a row. I think it's gonna be, how much do they score? I'm gonna go with a good solid 3-0 win for Chelsea over Burnley. Now, Liverpool versus Liverpool versus West Ham, not Manchester United. Liverpool versus West Ham. Now, surprisingly, Liverpool are still, I think just by virtue of their name, still the heavy favorites in this game. However, clearly we can't count out West Ham. They're having some kind of crazy resurgence recently, especially coming out of the break after those few months off in the Premier League. So West Ham aren't a team that you can count out yet. You have to wait till the final whistle to really count them out. So I'm going to give West Ham some credit on this one, but I think Liverpool take it by the same scoreline as they had last week. I think it's going to be a 2-1, where West Ham just caused all kind of trouble for Liverpool, but maybe Liverpool get like a penalty and that'll decide it or something, and it'll just be a really tight game where West Ham do not let Liverpool do what they want and actually control Liverpool for portions of the game, parts of the game, and it's a game where Liverpool won't get an easy win from that one. Now, Aston Villa versus Southampton, I think Aston Villa are the slight favorites after their loss against Leeds. I think that's why the odds are showing that they're slight favorites. But I think Aston Villa still take this one. They've looked good. When they've looked good, they've looked good. Like, it's not, nobody's arguing that. But they looked flat against Leeds last week. However, Southampton did take down Everton, to be fair. And they're not a side to scoff at. Southampton's not a side to scoff at. You cannot just ignore them. And this is actually you know what? This is kind of a tough one to call. Because Southampton are coming off of a pretty big win. They have the strike force to be able to come up with some big wins. And it's a tough one. I think, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with the Southampton win. Call me crazy. I think I'm gonna go with the Southampton win. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Southampton win. That's gonna be my controversial pick of the week. A Southampton win over Aston Villa, a 2-1, just barely. A tight game. I don't see Aston Villa beginning to spiral. I really don't. But controversial pick of the week. Let's just go with that. Now, Newcastle versus Everton. Everton are the favorites in this match for good reason. They did not look great against Southampton. However, this should be another game that they should take 3 points from to remain top of the table. I think they will take 3 points from this game. By how much is the question. Now, Newcastle haven't looked poor this season. They really haven't. They just can't quite get the results to go their way. 1 minute they're, it's a big win. Next minute they get smacked. So, well, not necessarily smacked. They just lose. And I think Everton take this one. I'm gonna go with a 2-0 win. I think they rebound from their 2-0 loss with a 2-0 win over Newcastle. Now, Manchester United versus Arsenal. United are the slight favorites, although tie seems like it's going to be the most favorable odd right here. But Man United are the favorites over Arsenal. I think with good reason. They're coming off of a good stretch, a good run of form. They beat down Newcastle. They didn't really beat down, but they handled PSG. Nice draw against Chelsea, a very good defensive showing. And then they just got done dominating Leipzig, which was surprising to me. That was crazy. So I think United are coming off the better run of form right now over Arsenal, and I think they do take this one. By how much is the question. I'm gonna go with a really slick 1-0 win. I think I said 1-0 for the Spurs Manchester United game, and we all know how that turned out. But I think United come away with this one 1-0. I could see them exploding for more goals. I could see this being a bit of a shootout or a one-sided score. If it is a one-sided score, I don't really see it going towards Arsenal. I would see it going towards United. Surprise me. Maybe Arsenal will come up and 6-1 United. So we'll see. But I think United are the better of the two teams right now in terms of form. And they should be able to handle Arsenal and whatever Arsenal throws at them. Now, Spurs versus Brighton. Spurs are the heavy favorites in this one. And it's unfortunate with Brighton. It's really unfortunate because they have a good style of play. It's just they can't win. They just can't seem to get those results to go their way. So I'm gonna still give it to Spurs. But you know what? No. I'm gonna give it to Brighton. Controversial pick of the week, number 2. I'm gonna give it to Brighton. Screw it. I think Brighton finally gets some kind of result going their way. I honestly don't think Brighton's going to do very well this season because, again, they just can't seem to get the results to go their way. But I feel like this will be like a highlight for them of the season. I feel like they come up with a big win over Spurs. Spurs are doing well. I mean, they did just lose against Royal Antwerp in the Europa League, but they are doing decently well. Their form's good. Well, a little shaky against in the Europa League, but they looked good, and I think that, I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs win this game, but just for the sake of making a bit of a controversial pick, if any of the smaller teams can do it, I feel like Brighton is one of them. Brighton is one of them that could pull out some kind of result against these bigger sides. Now, Fulham versus West Brom. Fulham are the ever so slight favorites in this game. The ever so slight favorites. I personally don't think so. I think West Brom are the actual favorites in this game. I'm gonna give it to West Brom. I could see this being a bit of a wild game. I could see it being easily a draw too. I feel like a lot of the lower side, the bottom of the table teams have been going against each other recently. I think it's gonna be. I could see it being a 2-2 draw. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-2 draw. A 2-2 draw. I feel like will be fair to both sides. It'll be a pretty even game, and it'll just end as a stalemate. I don't see too much separating these sides. I mean, Fulham are, I think, in my opinion, the worst of the two. Probably the worst, not probably, the worst in the Premier League, let's be honest. I think that they'll just scrape out a 2-2 draw and get their second point of the season. It'll be West Brom's fourth. 4 points apparently is enough to keep them out of relegation, so we'll see how that game turns out, but I could see it being very even. However, I do think West Brom will have the edge in the game, but Fulham will just scrape out a draw like at the last second or something. Now, Leeds versus Leicester, the odds are even. Wow. The odds are even. Leeds are coming off of a very good win. Leeds are an interesting side because on one hand you have a team that gets control that looks like a championship side, let's be honest. But on the other hand, and more often than not for Leeds, you have a team that has such attacking prowess and a ferocious style of play where they just attack the other team and they just go. So, I mean, Leicester are coming off of a decent win against Arsenal. Not the greatest, not the worst, a decent win against Arsenal. So, I'm tempted to give this to Leeds, but I feel like Leicester will just have just enough to get past Leeds. I'm going to go with, how big of a win do I want to give Leicester? You know what? Let's go with a wild scoreline. Let's go with a 4... Oh, other way around. Let's go with a 4-2 to Leicester. A wild scoreline. Maybe Leicester score a couple in like the last 20 minutes to decide the game or something. Maybe they go up 1, Leeds go, Leicester 2, Leeds 2, and then Leicester 3-4. Or maybe Leicester 1-2-3 and then Leeds get close to a comeback and then Leicester pull away like at the last second or something. A controversial pick? I don't think so. I feel like Leeds can hang with the top. They definitely can. They've proven that they can hang with the best up top. But I feel like their luck isn't always going to last against the teams that, have that sort of, not necessarily same attacking style as them, but can ball out whenever. And I feel like Leicester is one of those teams that can randomly score 5 goals out of nowhere. I mean, we saw the game against Southampton last season. What was it, 8-0 or something? Leicester are one of those teams that can magically explode at any second. So I feel like Leicester take this one, but it's not going to be an easy game. It's definitely going to be a struggle. Leeds are going to press Leicester. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds pull out a result in that game, draw or a win. But I'm going to give it to Leicester on that one. Now to quickly review my picks. Wolves over Crystal Palace I feel like is a pretty safe bet. I can see Crystal Palace pulling out a result, a last-second counterattacking goal. But I feel like Wolves should have that one. Same with City. I feel like City should have Sheffield in the bag. Sheffield haven't really pulled out any surprising results recently at all, actually. So this should be City's game to lose, to be honest. Again, same with Chelsea. Burnley are struggling, and Chelsea need to be able to handle it. Now, Liverpool, West Ham's a bit of a different story. West Ham have proved that they can pull out results against bigger sides. So I could see West Ham pulling off something here, a draw, a win. I feel like Liverpool would have to really be off. I mean, they're losing. They lost Van Dijk, and they just lost Fabinho. So, I mean, their defense may be a little stretched, but I still think Liverpool take this one by virtue of their offense. However, I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham pull off a result. Same with Aston Villa. I could see Aston Villa beating Southampton. I really can. It's just Southampton's been in decent form recently, so I'm going to back them a little bit to get back-to-back huge results against top-of-the-table teams, which is crazy to think that that's Everton and Aston Villa. But I think Southampton win. Again, controversial pick. picking that just for the sake of controversy. Now, Everton over Newcastle. I do think Everton rebound. Not comfortably, though. I feel like this is not going to be an entirely comfortable win. Everton, though, will get the 2-0 dub. United over Arsenal. I'm going purely based off form. United are in the better form between the two sides. So I think United come in. I don't think they smack Arsenal around, but I think they do get a decent win where they have a good showing all around. And Arsenal maybe will just be just a step behind and can't quite keep up throughout the game. Now, Spurs Brighton, I just really like Brighton, okay? I just really like Brighton's style of play. I like watching their games, and it's just really unfortunate they have no results going their way. So for the sake of controversy, I'm giving them another win, a big win over Spurs. And like I mentioned, I don't think Brighton's going to have the best season, but I think this will be a highlight for them if they can manage to pull off a result. Now, obviously, if Spurs win, nobody's going to be surprised. No one. But I'm saying this because I just really like Brighton's style of play, and I think they deserve a huge result after just not getting the results they probably deserve in like 2 or 3 of the games that they've played. Fulham, West Brom. It's a pretty even game. I could see either side coming out with a win, but I think a draw will probably be fair for both sides. Again, like I mentioned, West Brom for me has a slight edge, but I feel like a draw will be a fair result. Now, Leeds versus Leicester. I could see Leeds pulling out a massive win over Leicester, but I'm going with the safer bet. I guess there are no safe bets this season, but I'm going with the safer, bet of Leicester over Leeds. I think my gut's trying to tell me to put Leeds over Leicester. So you know what? Because I messed up twice in saying Leicester over Leeds, we're going to switch it. Leeds over Leicester. Score 4-2 win for Leeds over Leicester. A wild scoreline. I think it's going to be a wild scoreline nonetheless. Again, these are two teams that can randomly explode at any time. We've seen it with Leeds throughout the season. We've seen it with Leicester throughout this season and last season. They're teams that can just drop 5 goals in a game and just walk away. So I wouldn't be surprised if either side wins. But let's go with the shootout. And because my gut keeps messing me up, it makes me want to say Leeds over Leicester. I'm going to go with Leeds over Leicester. But yeah, those are my predictions for the week. What do you think? Do you think I'm crazy for some of these predictions? What do you think is my most controversial pick? Which one would you change? I bet there are a couple that you would probably change. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe. Go check out the socials in the description. My Twitter is @BlueHermit1. My Instagram is @BlueHermit_. Please share the socials with all your friends, family, everybody know. Let the people know Blue Hermit's where it's at. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.